Welcome. This is a recap of the Monday, December 20th, 2021 City Council work session and City Council meeting. At the work session tonight, we just had one item on the agenda, and that was to discuss the city's climate caucus, who are asking for a climate emergency resolution or declaration. This is something we began a couple years ago before COVID, an agreement that we would be looking at what we could do as a city to help with this issue. It does affect Grand Rapids in a number of ways, including tourism. It affects the loss of fish habitat for a lot of the prominent species where people come here to fish. Forests are changing because they're strained by warming temperatures. Crops are changing. Home insurance rates are rising far faster than the national average. And of course, there's all sorts of weather events as well. So we discussed tonight just if we want to move forward with this. There's been nothing's really been happening since the start of COVID up until this last week or two. Things are, the city is working back on this again. And the council agreed that on January 24th, the second meeting of January, we will consider adopting a resolution at that point. It doesn't ask us to do anything specific as far as spending money. Any decisions like that would be made on a case-by-case basis down the road. This doesn't override any of that. It just acknowledges that we have an interest in trying to do what we can. And we've already done quite a bit. And part of what we're going to be doing will be documenting what we've done as a city, which is fairly extensive in where we're at for a city our size in rural Minnesota. With that, we moved on to the council meeting, at which time we started with a presentation of the 2021 Mayor's Arts Award. This year's awards went out to Sam Miltich and Katie Marshall. They are a couple who've done just a tremendous amount of work for the Grand Rapids arts community. Both Sam on the music side of things, who's brought many talented professionals and created a vibrant music scene in the area and has grown our local arts culture. Katie is the executive director of the McCrosty Art Center, and her work with First Fridays and all sorts of other things that have brought residents to Grand Rapids and created Grand Rapids as a well-known arts community in the state of Minnesota. So we're really blessed to have their talents in our community. I thought it was a great selection by the committee who did so, and we congratulate both Sam and Katie for this year's Mayor's Arts Award. We then had council reports. Wasn't a lot this evening. I did notify the council that we received word that one of our area residents has received an award from the Minnesota Association of Libraries Friends. They have a Stand Up for Standout Friends initiative where they get nominations from around the state each year, and one of our very own residents, Pat Fiddledye, was chosen as one of the distinguished honors in this year's class. She's done a lot for the Grand Rapids Library, including serving on the artwork committee that's tasked with beautifying the library. She's worked with the Children's Museum, Minnesota Children's Museum, and a lot of other nonprofits to bring displays of Grand Rapids heritage to our space at the library, and she's also done just a tremendous amount of work in the children's library and helping out with summer story time, and the list goes on. So we certainly wanted to congratulate Pat and make sure that everybody knows that she won this award. She was a great choice, I believe. With that, we had a long consent agenda. One of those items is approving the official city meeting calendar for next year, 2022. Not just the council minutes, but all our boards and commissions as well. With the regular agenda, maybe the most noteworthy thing we did is adopted a resolution establishing the official polling places for Grand Rapids in 2022. Slight change of things. We did these changes in order to have each, partly because we now have the space to do this, but to actually put each polling place in the actual quadrant of the city in the right precinct. And so, first off, polling precinct 1 had been at the library, which actually, and that's the southeast part of town, so the library actually is not in that precinct. So with the opening of our fire hall, we have ample space to do that there, and it would be, we chose to make the fire hall the official polling place for the southeast quadrant, precinct 1. Precinct 2, which had been at the Civic Center, which is in the northwest part of town, and precinct 2 is the northeast part, will now move to the library, which would have them in the right quadrant of town. Precinct 3, the northwest part of town, will remain at the Civic Center. We previously had two polling places there, but with the fire hall available, we were able to streamline that process better and put people in their right quadrant. And for those in the southwest part of town, remains in precinct 4, it will remain at Zion Lutheran Church. And so that was voted on, and when the time comes, people will be notified appropriately that where their polling place is. We vacated a seat and appointed members to the Arts and Culture Commission. Maybe the main order of business tonight is we did, after 2 weeks ago, we had a truth and taxation meeting. Tonight we actually acted on that. We have to do that as our last meeting of the year. We have to get our approval over to the county so they can properly set things up. And so we did approve a resolution adopting the 2021 tax levy payable in 22, the 2022 general fund budgets, the 2022 special revenue budgets, and the 2022 enterprise budgets. And the last item on the agenda tonight was we approved a resolution approving the memorandum of agreement between the state of Minnesota and local governments and authorizing our participation in the national opioid settlement. This is still a work in flux, but there has been a federal settlement that's been divided out to the states, and each state has to come up with a plan on how things will be shared. We do know that 75% of the money has to be shared with local municipalities, mainly cities and counties. And so by approving this resolution, we agreed that we would be part of any such settlement. But because of the size of our town, of under 30,000, we aren't able to get any direct money, but we are able then to approach the county and ask for grant money based on whatever the settlement is. So we certainly chose to be part of that this evening. With that, we adjourn the meeting, and we will meet again in the first meeting in January of 2022 is January 10th. And I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, and everybody stays warm over the next couple of weeks. We'll see you again on January 10th. Thank you.